the market is growing, the demand, and also the things are moving and I'm excited to listen to the pitches tonight today. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, Nurul, so much for coming. And we are moving to other category of judges, that is expert board. Wonderful guys representing venture funds, accelerators, some other entities that also will be voting, evaluating our startup investment potential. Dear judges, it is important that you represent yourself, shortly pointing out what your check size, what geography you invest in, what industries, so startups will know who to contact here in chat or reach out in LinkedIn. And please push a button, raise your hand. It's like yellow funny thing right there in the Zoom menu. And I'll give you a floor when I see you do this. Anyone would love to start? Everybody's shy. So I'll just click through a couple slides. Okay. No one would like to represent themselves. Okay. Then I guess it's time to hear the pitches. And to do that, please meet our wonderful Victoria, our host and event manager for the second batch of our Unicorn Cup. Victoria, please introduce us to those startups that have made all the way from the winter into the spring into the world finals. Who will be pitching today?
All right. Thank you very much, Anna. Yep, we have our amazing winners, and we also have one surprise startup, which is our sponsor's choice. Happy to have all of you guys here. And we're gonna start with Lambda Supply Chain Solutions.
I guess we're gonna start with reminding startups that they have 3 minutes to pitch.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Just FYI, they are startups. You have 3 minutes to pitch, each one of you, and then 3 minutes for the Q&A. Judges are going to be asking you questions, so it's in your interest to keep your answers concise. And we recommend to not mention any fundraising out loud. You can have it on your presentation. It can be written there. Just don't say it out loud because we broadcast all around the world. The laws are different. We wouldn't want your live to not be shown or be cut out. So with that, we also have some business angels here. People can write questions in the Q&A and you can answer them textually. And feel free to connect with each other and text each other privately via Zoom or on LinkedIn. And with that, we're going to go in a specific order. And I'm going to invite Lambda Supply Chain Solutions, who are the winners of e-commerce and logistics unicorn battle, with their representative, Gaurav Mogra. Gaurav, please go ahead and share your screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria, and thanks everyone. My name is Gaurav. I'm founder of Lambda Supply Chain Solutions, and we have created OptiFlow. It's a digital supply chain digital twin platform. And the reason why I created this is we found that as e-commerce is increasing, it's making supply chains very complex. And legacy supply chain design and planning software is not just capable of managing this increased complexity. We predict that globally about 100 billion of value will be lost in logistics costs by retailers over the next 5 years if this is not corrected. Hence, we created OptiFlow. OptiFlow is as I mentioned, digital twin platform. And what digital twins are, these are nothing but virtual mathematical models of physical supply chains, and they enable simulation and optimization of real world supply chains. And these can be optimized for cost and service while taking care of risk. The way OptiFlow works is you can create these digital twins using a set of inputs from supply chain data, which could be captured historically, or it could be forecasted into the future. And they are fed to the optimization algorithms, which then return the optimal outputs for the future. These could be from design standpoint, how the network should look like, optimal network, or it could be tactical planning around where you should place inventory, how the product flow path should be. So it could be used for strategic and tactical decision making. Our revenue model, since we are a software company, is pretty straightforward. We charge $15,000 per user per month, or $150,000 per user. Typically, we have seen that for $1 billion company, 2 to 3 licenses suffice to do these digital twinning within the enterprise. We also support companies with consulting services who are not ready to get started on this artificial intelligence digital twin journey. What can OptiFlow do? So there are 2 things which OptiFlow does. It helps companies with strategic planning, which is at the network design level, which is, location of DCs, sourcing locations, inventory strategy, so on and so forth. And tactical problem solving, where they help companies with planning constrained supply, forecasting demand, and planning transportation. And all this is done differently for e-commerce, because that's what our focus is. How is it different? So as I mentioned, we have got the parcel, which is a huge chunk of e-commerce, that capability, that simulation. We have Insight Studio and Cloud. And these are 3 biggest differentiators when we look at some of the other competitors.
You have 20 seconds left, just FYI.
In terms of traction, we got 0.3 million last year. We're at 1.3 this year, and we are on a good growth. So we are projecting 3.9 next year. We've already signed contracts with some of the big consulting companies, and we are serving these clients. These are some of the benefits we have generated: 12 to 25% reduction in logistics cost of some of the known brands. 50 billion is the market.
Thank you, Gaurav. Feel free to leave. That's about what we have time for. Feel free to leave the presentation on any slide that you want. And Walid, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. I think I understand what your solution is doing in terms of the tactical, but in terms of the strategic, I did not get it pretty clear.
So Walid, let me explain.
Second, yeah.
So
the second thing about the cost, have you validated this cost?
That's a great question. So first I'll answer the first one. So when it comes to strategic planning, you are looking 2-3 years out. So you have a network configuration route that planned right now that may not be fit for future growth. So so this software can help you run and plan scenarios. These scenarios are nothing but future-looking alternate supply chain configurations, and you compare those configurations to current. I'll answer the second question now. Coming to validation, every mathematical model which gets built has to be validated with historical costs. And then only you can start trusting them to build future scenarios. So the cost and service output of a mathematical model has to be very close to what the reality is. And that's the exercise which anybody has to do when they're creating these models. If I was able to explain.
All right, thank you. Nurul, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thanks. So I understand that AI is a very curious and demanding thing nowadays in everywhere. Particularly in the US, it is doing a great job in the e-commerce retail space. So I was thinking about your growth curve, and I'm curious to understand. Do you feel at some point the e-commerce retailers will invest more by themselves in the AI, and this will create a risk for you in the longer run, and you will see a flat growth to some point? How do you manage?
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because I think everybody has their own capability. Like, we don't expect to build Excel, right? We'll let Microsoft do it, and we'll do our business. Similarly, e-commerce players would eventually focus on what works best for them, and software vendors will continue to focus on build better and better softwares.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have a short time for a short question from Peter. Peter, please go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you. Amazing presentation. As you know, in Germany, we take logistics very seriously. And we have also done a couple of investments in last year, because the COVID taught us that the value chain lies in the logistics and the resources. My question is this product meant to be for the big corporate companies? How do you get the data points and the sources of the data to do the very accurate projections? Is it more for the SMEs or more for the corporate? So I'm interested in data, and how do you manage this data, and who the end target would be? Thank you.
So the end target is always corporate. You need to have certain supply chain complexity. We have seen companies with revenues of more than 500 million are suited. Less than that, you can't get benefit from optimization. Second question, data. That's the biggest challenge. Bad data in, bad data out. So collecting data is super critical, but most companies are realizing this value. And now we are seeing like a lot of data is structured in SAP and data lakes. So situation was different few years back, but now the data is structured. So pulling that for running these kind of models is becoming easier and is going to be very easy as we go forward. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Gaurav. Thank you, judges, for your questions. Great presentation. And we're going to go to our next winner, Cookie, who won Robots and Hardware Unicorn Battle, represented by Raphael. Raphael, please go ahead.
Yes.
You have 3 minutes and counting.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, and I think we can see your screen, but there is a slight delay with your screen, but it works now. Okay,
perfect. So Cookie is a bean cooking robot, and we're for restaurants, and we're targeting the fact that nobody wants to work in a kitchen anymore. There's 1.6 million kitchen workers missing in Europe and the US. So I'll show you a quick video of what we built. It's a robot that takes 2.7 square meters, so that's about 30 square feet. And basically, you have to put fresh ingredients in the containers of the robot in cold storage. There is a software where you can enter your recipe step by step. So you have to input the amount of ingredients, the cooking temperature, and cooking duration. And the robot will execute the recipe. So it's going to take ingredients from the cold storage, and it will pour it into the rotating woks. At any point, you can have 250 portions stored in a robot. You have 3 pots, so you can do 3 different recipes at the same time, and you can reach an output of 100 dishes per hour. Eventually, the pot will tilt and pour the dish into a plate, and then it washes itself automatically. So basically, all you have to do is take the dish and hand it over to the customer or to the delivery person. And the types of dish that we do, it's very good for Italian dishes and Asian dishes, which represent roughly 35% of the restaurant market. And here you can see actual pictures of dishes made by the robot. So we have 2 products, the cooking robot, and then the same robot as a vending machine. There's no upfront cost for the restaurant. For the cooking robot, they will pay 1,450 euros per month, plus the price per dish. And that's much cheaper than having a full-time equivalence. So they would be saving 25 to 50,000 euros of staff costs per year. And there is a leasing partner, which means we receive several years of rent immediately. So we already make a margin when we sell a robot. We make a margin on the hardware. The benefits, of course, is that you need to hire less, there's less turnover, there's less people to train. It's a big impact on the bottom line of restaurants because restaurants are a small margin business. And the robot always cooks the food the same way, and you can even personalize each dish for each customer.
Just FYI, you have 30 seconds left.
Okay. We started signing pre-orders 8 weeks ago, and we already signed 9. Including 1 with Sodexo and 1 with Accor, the biggest hotel group in Europe. Our robot is simple and reliable. It works. It takes 30 minutes to set up somewhere, and it's affordable. In the past, I created a startup that was acquired by Booking.com for 50 million euros, and we have a very good team of engineers and sales. And now we're fundraising. We already have.
Okay. Don't mention fundraising out loud, but you can leave it here because we want this to be shown everywhere. This is great.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. I'm going to open the floor to judges to ask their questions. Walid, please go ahead.
Yeah, good presentation. I think you've added another business line from your last presentation, basically for the restaurants. So we see now there's a new trend for cloud restaurants or dark kitchens, stuff like that. So do you see impact? Have you considered cloud like or dark kitchens
Yes.
in the process?
Yes.
And
I think so. Two things. We did test of our robot in dark kitchens on Deliveroo with Salt Dishes. And I think we're particularly relevant for dark kitchens because they have a profitability challenge. Applications like Deliveroo take 25 to 30% cut on the delivery. So they're looking for automation. And so there's a lot of interest in France in dark kitchens for what we do, indeed.
So what about how are you coming around the shipment and the maintenance if you are scaling at large?
We have a national development strategy. So we want to start in France, provide good maintenance and shipping, and then to expand geographically. In the long run, what we want to do is to be able to outsource tier 1 and tier 2 maintenance to companies. We can do that because it's also predictive maintenance. So we can guide an operator in the distance. And then we would only intervene if there is something that's more like tier 3 complicated maintenance.
Understood.
All right. And Jordan, please go ahead with your question.
No, I'm a pass. If he's only in France, then I'm not going to ask questions.
So, I mean, our goal, of course, is to sell internationally, but to set up the first few pilots in France. But our target market is countries where the cost of workforce is quite important. So which is Europe, the US, Japan, Singapore, and Korea mainly.
All right. Aldo, please go ahead with a question.
Just curious about the production. How many meals you can produce in parallel, and what's the maximum production per hour in peak hours?
So the peak production the robot can do is 100 dishes per hour. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Then all good. Thank you very much for your presentation. And we're going to go to our next winner, Sterlingshire, the winner of FinTech Unicorn Battle, represented by Stephen Woods. Stephen, please go ahead and share your screen.
Thank you. I'm Steve Woods. I'm the founder and CEO of Sterlingshire Investments. Sterlingshire, our goal is to change the full service asset management model in a similar fashion how Robinhood changed the discount broker dealer. So Robinhood went after your E-Trades and TD Ameritrades. We're going up the spectrum to every full service asset manager in full service asset manager in the world, like your financial advisors at Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, things of that nature. Our goal is to make a system that's better for both clients and advisors through lower fees, better service, higher payouts for the advisors, and fees, costs to the clients that are more closely tied to performance. We use a patent pending trade confirmation process that shifts a significant amount of the liability off the firm. And this allows us to pay the actual advisors more than everybody else, allows them to permanently work from home. It removes a lot of the nefarious things that are able to take place in the industry, such as unauthorized trading or regulation best interest violations. We're starting here in the US. We're fully approved by FINRA and the SEC. That's a very tough process to get through. It gives us a little bit of a moat there. Let's see. Oh, sorry here. Okay, so who's involved? Obviously myself, David Lundgren, he's the former director of research for Wellington Management, which has over $1 trillion in AUM. Harvey Pitt, he's the former chairman of the SEC. And my CTO is the former global head of technology for State Street and former director of the London Stock Exchange. One other thing, our clearing firm is Apex Clearing. They are the best clearing firm for fintechs in the industry. They have 300 firms that clear through them. They took a look at what we built. They see the vision and what we're trying to do and go after the much broader section of the market where all the real assets under management are. And they said, we don't want clearing charges from you. We don't want money. We want a warrant to buy 3% of the company. We believe we're going to be at about 25 million in revenue by the end of this year. And obviously the total addressable market is, there's 110 trillion of assets, under management in the financial advisor space. A lot of that's going to grow from 52% retail to 61% retail by 2030.
You have 30 seconds.
Yep. So let me just show you the system is already up and running. We're starting to take on advisors as we speak right now. And we make money, or the firm itself makes money off margin interest, the credit balances, fully paid stock lending, and stock borrow. And this, obviously, that's the web platform. Let me stop sharing. You can't see it. I have a background on the app's already done and everything. Sorry about that, guys. If you want a full demo, I'll drop my calendar in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, and judges, please go ahead with your questions. Peter, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so amazing team. I love the presentation, really enjoy it. As a Frank with this very stable and strong financial city, I would ask for the competitive advantages.
So I don't have time to share it in a 3-minute presentation, but we have a trade confirmation process that basically what happens is whenever the advisor actually makes a recommendation to the client, it instantaneously pops up on the client's phone and their desktop. The client has the ability to see the due diligence that the advisor has read or created before he even made that recommendation to the client. And basically what happens is it's almost like a confirmation process. The advisor makes a recommendation, it instantaneously pops up on the phone or desktop, client approves it. When the client approves it, that's what actually routes it out to the market makers. So it's never actually the advisor that's executing trades, the advisor is simply providing advice. And then we filed a patent on that process. So that allows us to pay everybody much more and allows us to have them work from home forever in a super compliant manner.
Amazing. Okay. Jordan, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you for the presentation. What's your traction with the investors to date? How is their appetite for what you're offering without talking about numbers?
Yeah, so we just started taking on advisors last month. At the very end of January. We have 8 advisors on the platform so far. We just had our first big win, hired an advisor from Charles Schwab with 300 million in AUM. So far, our target is the advisors at this point. So they're coming in with their clients, so they're bringing their clients with them. Once we get about 40 advisors on the platform, then we're going to start going out and marketing directly to drive some inbound client flow, people who didn't have advisors so far. But until then, we're not driving those because we'll just be another E-Trade if we don't have the actual advisors to give professional advice.
So you're bringing advisors and they're going to pull in
their clients with them. Yeah. So we're getting them to break away from JP Morgan, Charles Schwab, LPL, all these other firms, and come to us, giving themselves a big pay raise and giving them the flexibility.
Before we run out, give me your unit economics. How does it work? You bring in an advisor. How long before they start to be profitable? Blah blah blah.
Immediately. So it costs us about $3,000 to hire one advisor, pay for the registration and stuff, and as long as they come in with more than 10 million in AUM, that payback is immediate.
Thank you.
So we have about 20 seconds left, Gaurav, if you want to ask your question. Gaurav, I think you're muted.
Stephen, how are you exactly avoiding the unauthorized trading and any kind of regulatory violation?
I'd love to show you that. So whenever the advisor actually makes a recommendation, we require him to grab a link to due diligence that he's read or created beforehand. He pops it in the comment box right next to the share account, right? When he hits trade, it immediately pops up on the client's phone, instantaneously, right? Mm-hmm. And the client then actually hits confirm. And when the client hits confirm, that's what executes the trade. So the advisor can't actually even do a trade in the account. The advisor can just make the recommendations to the client.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Amazing presentation. Okay, and we're gonna go to our next startup, Radio Life, who are the winners of Biotech and Health Tech Unicorn Battle, and they're represented by Sergio. Sergio, please go ahead.
You got it right this time, Victoria. Thank
I
you.
managed to, yeah, sure.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergio. I'm the founder and CEO of Radio Life, and I'm thrilled to present to you today. As the winners of the biotech industry in the preliminary rounds of the Unicorn Cup, we're excited to compete with startups from different industries. At Radio Life, we believe that artificial intelligence modeling can revolutionize medical diagnostics. And we developed a platform that combines AI with the right technologies to improve speed and costs in the detection of diseases. The pandemic has shown us the importance of accurate and timely medical diagnosis. With Radio Life solution, we can bridge the gap in diagnostic capabilities and ensure that patients receive the best possible care. So how can we use AI to solve our diagnostic gaps? We are combining AI with radio frequency. By doing this, we are creating a unique solution that is affordable and scalable. Our solution is mobile and user-friendly and has the potential to detect diseases caused by viruses, bacteria, and cancer cells in under 20 seconds without using any reagent. The device is simple to use and can be remotely upgraded with new diagnostic tests, making it the best solution for POCs, border control posts, and other triage applications. Our goal is to make a real difference in the lives of people. We are proud that ever since we incorporated Radio Life, we've collected invaluable achievements such as lab partnerships to run clinical studies, our patent grant, a feasibility study agreement for the tuberculosis rapid test, and an MOU signed with one of the lead diagnostic companies in Latin America that will allow us to run pilots. Next, we will secure the funds we need to run clinical studies, achieve regulatory approval, run pilots, and prepare for scaling. Our plan is to sell 58,000 units and become profitable by the end of year 2 with over $15 million in revenues. And this is the team that is executing and will lead Radio Life to success by combining the experience I have with startups and tech, having had a successful exit in the telecom space, with my co-founder Williams with over 15 years of experience in telecom, radio frequency, and device manufacturing, Dr. Rodrigo with over 30 years of experience in immunoregulation of infectious diseases, and Michelle with over 20 years of experience with regulatory compliance, having worked with companies like Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca in the past.
You have, if you're done, you have about 30 seconds left.
Just final statement, thank you. We decided to embark on this journey just 2 years ago, and we know that what we are doing is important and is of personal significance to me and my team. We had family members passing to late diagnostics during the pandemic, so you can imagine how hard our team is working to bring this technology to the lives of people. But together we can do more, so I would like to invite all of you to join us in our journey. I'm happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Judges, please go ahead with your questions. And Gabriel, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do remember you in your competition when you won, so we're very excited to see you. I just have one quick question regarding the diagnosis. It can prevent any type of disease, or you are specific in one type of disease? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I would love to know that, and how can I help you? Yeah.
Thank you for your question. So we started our studies. First, we did a lot of research to understand how radio frequency could resonate with biostructures. So we're dealing with complex structures, and that's why we have a spectrum of frequencies. When we filed our patent, we chose the frequencies that would resonate with most of the pathogens like viruses, bacteria, and even cancer cells. From there, next steps will, of course, we have to go and run clinical studies for each pathogen that we want to develop. I hope I answered your question.
And your that's great. And your revenue model would be directly to the clinics, hospitals, labs, or to the user directly, or both? No, I guess.
So long term, we envision direct sales to consumers and the home use.
Did he got out? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see.
Yep.
Thanks.
We'll have a minute and a half. So
Am I back?
We can hear
you're
you.
back. You're
Yeah.
back.
I don't know
Okay.
how far you heard.
Yeah,
I'm
no, you
sorry.
were
Direct to
for the long
consumer was
term,
the
no?
last thing you said, direct to consumer.
For the long term, no? You expect to.
Yes, the long-term vision, direct to consumer, but early adopters will be, like you said, laboratories, hospitals, and even large businesses could be great customers in the beginning. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Congrats. Good luck. Yeah. Talk soon.
Okay. Gaurav, please go ahead.
You mentioned that these portable equipments can also detect cancer cells, right? Can they?
That's a good question. Thank you. That's an assumption from our research regarding the resonance with biostructures. And cancer cells, they have different dimensions comparing to healthy cells. So we assume, and of course, we need to run studies to confirm that assumption. That's
So
not
for
something.
now, it can only detect viruses and bacteria, is it?
We are very early stage. So for now, we did like preclinical studies that confirmed that we have a good potential to detect viruses, respiratory viruses, and even bacteria, because we ran like preclinical studies with COVID. We did RSV and tuberculosis, and those came really positive. So
Thank you.
that next
I have
step
my
would be,
answer.
of course, to expand it to other diseases and pathogens.
Thank you.
All right. That's about what we have time for. But Jordan, I'd encourage you to type your question in the chat or in the Q&A. I'd love to know what that was. And
Be happy
thank you
to
very
answer
much.
those.
Thank you, Sergio, for the presentation. And we're going to go to our next contestant, the winner of the Crypto and Blockchain Unicorn Battle, Umoja Labs, represented by Robbie. Robbie, can you share your screen?
Absolutely. Do you all see it?
Yep, the floor is yours.
Excellent. Well, wonderful to meet you all. My name is Robbie Greenfield. I'm co-founder of Umoja Labs. So as you all may know, there's an $8 trillion emerging market enterprise financing gap across 160 million enterprises globally. And one of the biggest issues is that check sizes over $100,000 are heavily collateralized, extremely limited in terms of access, and oftentimes not tailored toward the borrower's needs. And the issue is that traditional banks, mobile money networks, and even DeFi protocols are either providing inaccessible, unaffordable loans or inaccessible, affordable loans, meaning they're either too expensive or they require too much government documentation to apply for. And on the DeFi side, typically we're seeing everything being under collateralized and no form of collateral being presented to the debt investors. But the issue is that this perception is actually wrong. There's an over $1.4 trillion global private market, microfinance market, and BNPL market, along with other asset financing based organizations that provide very low borrower risk in a lot of these markets and affect people greatly. And we know that real DeFi in Maple Finance and Goldfinch, it works, but they're not targeting the markets that need this financing most. And so Umoja is a decentralized credit protocol that provides affordable, secured, and multi-currency financing that allows junior tranche investors full default risk control with a gradient of real-world asset tokens. And our vision is to really collateralize the $8 trillion financing gap and provide collateral to the $1 trillion oncoming stablecoin market. Our model allows borrowers to do preferred terms. You can flexibly structure deals. You can rent collateral at any time during the maturity of the loan, which is a first. And of course, this produces quality real world assets that can be used for collateral of other projects and other finance instruments on chain. And the benefits that we provide to the senior tranche, blended investment with well-protected capital, to the junior tranche, full default risk control with full deal control, and to insurers, non-emission-based tokens, which is very important to have revenues that actually ongo and not just create money out of nowhere. It works very simply. We crowdsource both financing and collateral from both sides, and we allow customizability throughout those components.
Just FYI, you have 30 seconds left.
this allows a blended, asset approach in terms of the tokens that people can invest in. It also allows lenders to adjust their risk profile at any time, which allows them control over their risk. We have already accrued $30 million in institutional borrower debt and have partnerships with the Grameen Foundation, Coinbase Ventures, and others. And we have an amazing team that's talked to 3 central banks so far. And we have over a decade in blockchain experience, and of course, have people from Goldman Sachs, Amazon, and others on our team. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And I'm going to open the floor to questions from judges. Jordan, please go ahead.
So crypto is on fire. It's a cluster mess. Every other day, there's a catastrophe in the making. And now this. Rationalize it for me. Why should an investor take an interest in this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the recent collapses that we've seen thus far with FTX, Silvergate, and even though Silicon Valley Bank is not necessarily affected by the contagion of FTX, I do think it's put in the same grouping.
I would not do that. Not on record, for sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. Those recent collapses are what you call SEX collapses, centralized exchanges. So they're not collapses of protocols. They're collapses of centrally controlled entities that deal in the business of cryptocurrency trading, but aren't protocols by any means, aren't decentralized by any means. I actually think a lot of these collapses are good because it focuses the ecosystem on pragmatic solutions, ones that aren't focused on minting tokens and giving people unsustainable yields or are completely disconnected from real world use cases. So I see that as a good thing because it kills off a lot of kind of the spam in the ecosystem. But I do believe pretty strongly that because of the transparency issues in traditional finance and also a lot of the in-between and intermediary costs, that it's extremely likely that the future of financial infrastructure is going to be on chain. It just depends on how it's going to manifest and which regulations are going to create a medium for either making certain things illegal or making other things legal. And so we take a backwards compatible approach, meaning that anything that traditional fintechs are expected to have, whether it's being money service business registered in the United States or doing KYC or KYB on liquidity providers or junior tranche investors, we do all of that. We just leverage the technology to cut those intermediary transfer costs and also provide lower cost of capital in regions in which you're not going to be able to access those type of rates.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And next question from Gabriel.
Hey, man, thank you so much. Congrats on your company. I just wanted to ask you, Jed, what you were saying, what happened with FTX and Binance, Alameda, then Silicon Valley Bank. I mean, it's clear that we see many, how can I say, strong moments right now, difficult moments, both in centralized finance, CeFi and DeFi. So my question to you is how you manage to provide security to the user, also who's giving you the liquidity in the back to support your protocol, and even depending the chain you're working on. I don't know if the chain you are building the protocol, but we saw what happened with FTX and Binance that I agree were centralized, but still some of the chains like Solana got also compromised because they had a huge ecosystem, but again, very centralized. So again, the premise of the decentralization is still very, it's in a gray area, right? So how you manage the liquidity, how you manage the user, and even let's say if the financial crash, a crypto crash again, how you manage to keep the momentum and your product alive. Sorry, that's like question at once, right?
No worries, no worries. I don't know if we have time for good verbal answer, but Robbie, can you type the answer in the chat?
Yeah, and then do I have any seconds to give a quick answer, a summary answer?
Yes, of course.
Okay, right, perfect. So liquidity providers are going to be venture debt funds and credit funds on the liquidity side, institutional borrowers on the borrowing side. In terms of systemic risk associated with FTX, Binance, and others, again, it's more so of poor and fraudulent exchange management rather than decentralization. In terms of the chain that we're on Avalanche, which is Ethereum virtual machine compatible, hasn't had any network failures. And the way that we attract that liquidity during a down market is that we could be in a crypto winter forever, and this protocol would work and be profitable. It has no yield token economics in it whatsoever. It simply redistributes revenues to higher risk participants to offset any additional ROI that they would otherwise not get in the case of default.
Yeah, let's talk further, man. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm going to invite next the winner of Industry Agnostic Unicorn Battle, Control Energy, represented by Raouf. Raouf, please go ahead and share your screen. Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yep. And you have 3 minutes and counting.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Raouf from Control Energy. Well, the stationary energy storage market is supposed to reach 320 billion by 2030. However, it still suffers from the domination of lead acid batteries, an obsolete, harmful technology that remains cheaper than lithium. And speaking of lithium, less than 5% of the lithium battery production is recycled because the battery remains too complex and time-consuming to be financially viable. To tackle these two difficulties, we created LiPo. LiPo is a fully modular, wire-free, reusable smart battery made of recycled materials. With LiPo, you don't throw your battery anymore. You simply open it at the end of the life cycle, extract your defective cells that will be recycled at 100%, put in new cells, and you have a brand new battery that can last for up to 40 years. LiPo systems are really easy to mount, just like Legos, and highly scalable. And modularity is our superpower, because with the same module, we can have serve many, let's say, multiple applications, so we can lower really our production costs. But it also helps to lower the entry price for the user, get 75% saving on the cells replacement and the battery replacement, and 30% off the electricity bill with our optimization system. And don't forget that every LiPo installed means 190 kilos of CO2 equivalent saved for the planet. With our systems, you can provide smart energy to every room in your house with a LiPo deck starting at $299, but also your full house with a LiPo Pixel. And LiPo products are really scalable, and you can reach up to 200 kilowatt per hour in our custom ESS, which is roughly enough to supply energy to a 20 floors building. Today, we are planning our go-to-market for Q4 of this year, but we already have our pre-industrial version, so TRL7. We have 2 patents in France and the US, and 3 paid pilots ongoing, mainly with utilities for B2B2C and B2B clients. One of these pilots can lead to a 40 million order. We also have 7 pilots in the pipe. Regarding our team, we have 17 years of gathered experience with my co-founder, Adlan. We had 1 successful exit in 2019. We bootstrapped fully the technology, built it in-house, so we put our money where our mouth is, and we are currently fundraising our first round. Thanks a lot, and hope to get you on board.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And I'm opening the floor to questions. Peter, please go ahead.
Yep. So absolutely, energy sector is one of the most important for us for investments as well. I love the presentation. You mentioned 30% optimization of the costs on the energy. How is this done?
By 2 means. First, if you don't have off-grid energy, our system is able to natively recognize the off-peak hours. So it charges during off-peak hours, discharge on on-peak hours. For example, in France, we can do it natively with the connected electricity meter. We also have another, let's say, optimization system where, unlike chargers that still consume energy, even if they are not in use, our system kills this ghost consumption. So if you don't charge your laptop or your TV, it kills the output directly. So you save energy even if you are not doing anything. Our system manages everything automatically.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Alexander, please go ahead with a question.
Yeah. How easy is it to copy your hardware and your idea?
Oh, how is it hard? Well, I would not say it's impossible, because every good engineer can retro engineer anything within 6 months. But what you need to know is that even our electronics, so our BMS is proprietary, it's protected by our IP. It's very special, so it's dual BMS. You have one part here, one part in the motherboard. So to copy it, you really need to make a real copycat to make the same thing. So if you make a real copycat, it's clear infringement of our IP.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Gaurav, please go ahead with a question.
I still am not sure what the product you are offering. Are you offering the modular component or the modular component and the batteries both?
Oh, so the modular component is a battery. So this is a 12 volts, 9 amps battery that can assemble to create an infinitely scalable battery. But we also,
go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
But we also created modules, output modules, so USB, USB-C, AC sockets.
Understood. So is this
etc.
more for just the residential applications or also for industrial applications?
Oh, right now we are focusing on real estate, so offices, let's say residential offices and commercial real estate. But for example, one of our talks, the one I mentioned, is with an industrial client. They have 400,000 remote sites, remote shelters that need to be provided with off-grid energy. And our solution is really great for them because they can customize every system by keeping the same unit economics.
How does it compare with this Californian company called Natron Energy? Are you familiar with them by any chance?
Oh, no.
So they are offering energy storage for edge computing data centers and others using sodium blue, and apparently they are more efficient in terms of life. You mentioned you can recycle the lithium, and lithium recycling is now on the rise, right? So what is your competitive advantage compared to the competitors out there in US and Europe, which I'm somewhat familiar with?
Oh, great question, because you mentioned sodium, and we are currently working on a technology that will be implemented in our firmware that will help LEPO to recognize sodium natively. So LEPO in 3 years will be natively a lithium or sodium battery. So we don't need to change the hardware. We just need to upgrade our firmware to do that. And compared to other competitors that are offering, pre-packed battery packs for a certain application, with our system, you can really scale it and build the energy storage system that you need. For example, you don't oversize it, you don't undersize it, and you keep the right price for your production.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
And let me introduce the winner of our AI Unicorn Battle, Active Chat AI, represented by Andrew.
Hi, guys.
Andrew, you have 3 minutes and counting.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm Andrew from Active Chat, and we at Active Chat are building the future contact center. I believe you guys heard about ChatGPT already. It's smashing the headlines around the world, and similar software tools also from other providers. But there's a huge problem with these large language models, and you can see an example of this problem in this conversation with ChatGPT. When asked why should I lubricate the oxygen cylinder valve with oil, it tells me all kinds of stuff, like why it is important, how do I do this, but it completely forgets to note that it is plain dangerous to bring the oil in contact with oxygen. So these larger language models are tending to hallucinate if they do not have enough information. And when customers want to apply this for their specific knowledge domain, for example, for customer service, they encounter definitely issues. And these large language models are basically designed to fail when applied to a specific knowledge domain. The reason for this is that you can see the landscape here. They are competing with each and every one in terms of the size of the model, the amount of data consumed, the number of parameters. But it actually brings to complexities when you apply them to a specific knowledge domain. We take a completely different approach. We use 0% redundant data, and we use only specific knowledge that is provided to us by our customers to build these large language models that can basically transfer knowledge into conversations. We can take any kind of knowledge like textual documents, websites, PDF files, Word files, even previous conversation logs from systems like HubSpot or Intercom or Zendesk, And we use transformer technology to convert this knowledge into conversations. These conversations can happen between business and customers. They can be used for self-service automation, for contact center automation, and some of our customers are even using this for employee onboarding internally for their teams. When compared to ChatGPT by OpenAI, you can see the differences in this slide. Mostly we are ahead of them in terms of accuracy of responses. OpenAI and ChatGPT, at least ChatGPT 3.5, provide 70% initial accuracy and 85% after fine-tuning. And we go with 85% instantly and 95 to 99% after fine-tuning. And also the costs are substantially less for us. I believe the situation will change slightly with the release of GPT-4, which happened yesterday, but still the technology that we use is superior in terms of applying to large language models to specific knowledge domains.
You have about 10 seconds left, just FYI.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. We have already a number of customers from telecom, from insurance, law, and healthcare. Versatile team building this for almost 3 years, backed by 500 startups, Oracle Ventures and Concordia Design Accelerator. And we're raising a small seed round right now to get us to 25K break-even point and to get us to Series A. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your comments and questions.
All right. Peter, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so I love the presentation. I need to comment that the chatbots were quite new 10 years ago. And we also did a couple of investments in last year for the chatbots. It's a company, if you know, Cognigy, they provide for airline companies, the chatbots. And if we learned correctly, of course, the database and the amount of data you get into the system, that's defined the accuracy of the answers. What would be your competitive advantage on the market to make the investment?
Mostly our competitor advantage is the technology itself, since we are using a combination of few short learning and transfer learning that allows us to build natural language conversations on limited data sets. And as far as I know, there is no other company that is doing something similar currently. Now, this is still in the development phase for us. Currently, our technology works with English language only. We're doing some experiments with other languages also, but the main competitive advantage is the technology itself. We can take knowledge, and only that knowledge we can transform into conversations without any extra redundant data.
Okay, thank you for answering.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, we still have some time and judges are thinking. I think I'm going to ask my question then. So I see that we have in a Q&A questions about specifically the specificity of data, so your main competitive advantage. And I personally worked with AI, so I know that AI tends to not exactly understand everything that it's seeing, but rather extrapolate on what the next, for example, word should be. So can you expand a bit more on the competitive advantage side, just so everyone in the audience who's not familiar with the topic understands how exactly you're superior in this term, in like technical sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what these large language models are, basically they are huge parrots that are just predicting which token will come next in response to a specific query by the customer. And since these larger models by OpenAI, by Microsoft, by Google, and all this stuff, they are focused on huge amounts of data. Actually, what we do instead of this, we can pull the knowledge only from the data that we already have. We have some basic models that can speak natural language in English currently. And when we use embeddings to find information in the specific knowledge documents, then we can convert these bits of knowledge, let's say a couple of phrases, we can convert this into a natural language response. And basically, this is the main differentiator for us. We not only extract information, but we also put this in a human digestible form. Does it make sense?
Cool. All right. Thank you. Sounds great. And thank you for your presentation.
I love the dog.
Thank you. She I think she got scared of the vacuum, so she came to me. She's now our second event manager at Unicorn.Events. She's an employee. Okay, thank you. And
Yeah,
let
thank
me
you to guys.
introduce our next winner. The winner of Software and Services Unicorn Battle, Solid with 3 Ds, represented by Neil. Neil, please go ahead with your presentation.
Hello, let me share my screen. I hope you can all see that.
Okay, and you have 3 minutes and counting.
We have actually invented true vision correction for macular degeneration. We have managed to understand things about the way the eye and brain work together that no one has imagined before. And we're going to be able to enable sight for hundreds of millions of blind people. Let's see if I can move ahead on my slide here. It doesn't move. Okay. Okay, it needed a hard click. So what we have done is, actually, let me begin by saying people who saw our presentation a month ago are going to see it's different now. And the reason that it's different is because we've actually proven this out. We have actually really done what we thought we could do, and macular degeneration correction has become low-hanging fruit for us. So we are going to be able to actually go to market with this soon. There are 200 million people living with macular degeneration, and we can treat them. We can treat them with something that's as easy to wear, as lightweight as normal eyeglasses. It's going to be low powered, and it actually uses very few MIPS. So we've actually got an offer already from Qualcomm to have it running on their Snapdragon processor that runs 90% of the AR glasses now. So we have a very clear path to market. This is going to be as cheap and easy to manufacture as the lenses that you use today for myopia or farsightedness, molded out of polycarbonate or polyurethane. We began not thinking that we could do this. This wasn't even in our imagination. We set out to do the best possible AR glasses, and we've achieved, and we needed to do that to be able to do this. So we've got AR glasses that give you the absolute widest field of view, that give images with what's called retinal imaging or Maxwellian display. It images on the retina in full focus at infinity, bypassing the muscles of the pupil that engage focus. We get brightness for our graphics that's even brighter than daylight. We solve all the problems of normal AI. What we do is we present multiple image tiles through our multiple lens tiles, and the brain conjoins them to create a single image over the entire visual field.
You have about 20 seconds left.
If we don't present the central part of the image, the brain still sees the entire image because we're hitting the eye from the peripheries, and the brain puts that together into a single overall image. So that's the main thing I want to show here. This is the form factor that it can take in just a year or so from when we first come out with what we can do in our reference design. We think we'll have a few $1 million in revenue from the reference design. This is a gigantic market, already over $500 million. There are many competitors who, please don't think we do what they do. They only do some magnification, some picture-in-picture. We give people true vision. That's all I need to tell you.
Thank you very much. Neil, that's awesome. Thank you for your presentation. And I'm going to open the floor to judges' questions. Gaurav, please go ahead.
Neil, I like the last line that you mentioned, and I'm going to ask you more on that. How does this compare with iDaptic or eSight and others? Yeah, I'm familiar with those competitors that are also in the macular degeneration, and I think it's a very niche space. But how does it precisely compare with these two players?
Yeah, it's a niche space now because all these guys can do is give you image magnification. They can enhance contrast and brightness. They can do picture-in-picture. There are some solutions that do text-to-speech. So Orcam, for instance, I believe was the first one that had a box that would sit on the side of your eyeglasses and read what you're looking at and read it out to you audibly. These are helps for people with vision problems, but it doesn't really solve the problem of actual sight, which we do. So all
But
these things.
Idaptic already does that, right, Neil? Idaptic already
No,
has the
they
AMD
actually,
glasses.
no, they do not. What they do, I've used their product. What they do is give you magnification. They do digital zoom. They do these various aids, but they do not fill your, if you have the typical pattern that really bothers people, which is central foveal macular degeneration, they don't fill that area. We actually fill your field of vision, with sight. Nobody else does that. Nobody else can, and we have very strong patents on this. We have
Thank you.
13 issued US patents so far, 6 more pending.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Alexander, please go ahead with your question.
Can existing competitors copy your technology and make the same product?
Well, our patents are pretty strong. So as I said, 19 patents, 13 already granted in the US. We've been getting similar patents in the European Union and in other countries. So I think we're really well patented. The only other way to do this would be either just to copy our technology and violate our intellectual property. And we've got really great lawyers working for us on this. So we have a great business model for this too. We don't want to reinvent the wheel of AR glasses. We want to license it to giants in the consumer electronics and healthcare space. We already have trials going with Lighthouse Guild here in New York City, which is the largest nonprofit in the United States dealing with things for the blind. We think we can, and we don't need FDA approval for this. We think that our customers, which will be the manufacturers of CE devices, can get this out really broadly around the world. So we'll have gorillas on our side. And if people want to compete with, the giant companies we're going to license to, they're going to have a hard time.
Okay, thank you. Great.
Okay, thank you. That's what about what we have time for. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
And next we're gonna have the winner of AR, VR, and Metaverse NFT battle, Aradina.
Hey guys, is my screen sharing okay?
Yes.
Can actually make it a little bit wider as well. That's easier for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Cool. So it's great to speak to everyone again. I recognize a few faces of the judges. So what our mission is at Latoja is we are revolutionizing the way we play and interact online whilst onboarding millions of users to Web3. Our first focus is on gaming, but then we also look to expand into adjacent markets, particularly social, education, and metaverse experiences. There's a very clear problem that we're solving, which is basically the fact that Web3 games have not yet gone mainstream. There's 2 core problems for the actual users themselves that are the reason why. One is the very obvious one, which is lack of quality gameplay and also minimal novelty in the game designs. And then the second thing is the poor implementation of Web3 tech. So not really solving true pain points for gamers and actually improving the player experience. Our solution to the first is unique and strategic gameplay. So our philosophy is that we are building games that outcompete Web2 games on the gameplay alone. We have a very strong belief that the core value proposition to bring traditional gamers over to Web3 needs to be around the fact that it's not just a great game to play, but also a game that is unique in terms of its game design. So not just replicating game designs that already exist in Web2, like many do at the moment, but actually creating gameplay that is unique. And therefore, when a traditional gamer looks at it, they think that's very interesting. I've not seen that before. I'm going to try it. Web3 tech is all really about improving the monetization and the retention model, way more than it is about the acquisition. Moving on to the Web3 section is providing clear player benefits. So players can earn from competitive games. They can trade their assets, unlike in other games. The assets themselves can retain and gain value. And one of the other key problems is around the onboarding experience, which we're solving by basically segmenting the user funnel so that Web3 players who already have a crypto wallet can onboard straight away. And those that are not used to crypto ecosystems, they can onboard with semi-custodial solutions with no barriers to entry around buying an asset or creating a crypto wallet. And then basically pushing down the funnel once they're already onboarded into the game. So say, for example, if you're a free-to-play player, a traditional gamer, you may win an asset for your competitive performance. You'll see that in your inventory. And then in order to claim and monetize it and trade it, you'd need to create a Web3 wallet. So the incentive is very strong in that way. In terms of the traction so far, we've generated about $1.7 million in revenue in the last 18 months. That's from selling pre-launch game assets. We've also built a community of about 60,000 gamers across Twitter and Discord. Our lead investor is Animoca Brands. They led our pre-seed equity investment round in 2021, and they're also recommitting to the current round. In terms of the team, there's a lot of experience across startups, tech, and gaming. In particular, James Wakeham's a really interesting one. He was previously the co-creator and lead designer of Gods Unchained, which is the main Web3 trading card game in the space. And he's the lead game designer for us. Myself, I have a background in gamified e-learning applications. I previously founded a tech company in that space. I'll skip through these slides because I know I've only got about 10, 15 seconds left. And I'll jump through to just the monetization revenue summary. Basically, our target is to hit $45 million in annual revenue by month 36. Month 0 would be in 2 months' time when we do our first beta launch. Key revenue streams are the in-game store itself, in-game features, and then also royalties and all secondary trading. And we also have some innovations on the content and monetization strategy. Particularly, we're using a lot of AI to create our assets and our illustrations, which is normally the most expensive part of releasing content, like the actual cards themselves. So we're producing content in terms of like the card illustrations about 10 times quicker and cheaper than other trading card games at the moment.
Okay.
And
all right.
I'll leave on that slide. And so just the last note is that we already have about 750K committed in this round so far, and then looking to continue raising and closing the next month or so.
Okay, amazing. And judges, please ask your questions. Gabriel, please go ahead.
Hey, Liam, thank you so much. Congrats. I have a few quick questions regarding, you mentioned about the uniqueness, right? And can you detail a little bit more what would be the unique on your side in terms of the gaming per se, the design, or the trading activity, the liquidity? How would be that uniqueness, as you say, that I agree is lacking in Web3 gamified projects, and how you want to differentiate on that side?
Yeah, so I'll first of all differentiate on the actual gameplay side. So there's 2 unique selling points in terms of the gameplay of our first game title. So it basically takes inspiration from trading card games, but then add new layers on top of it. So what it does is it adds a 3D battlefield, which you can sort of see on the screen here. It does 2 really important things. One, it's a lot more of a visually immersive experience for the player. So rather than just seeing cards on a virtual table, you actually feel like you're commanding an army around a 3D battlefield. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it allows us to create a lot of new gameplay scenarios in terms of like adding new layers of strategy, particularly around the movement and positioning. So like say, for example, in like Web2 TCGs like Hearthstone, most of like the spell cards and strategy cards are just simple damaging spells. What we could do is, for example, you can teleport behind your opponent's enemy lines, you can burn part of the terrain so they can't come through that way. So that's on the gameplay side. And then in terms of on the Web3 side, what we're basically doing is, it would be very difficult to go into a lot of detail here, but basically the way that we've set up our game economy is very different from most Web3 game economies. We're not a play to earn game. We don't think that model's sustainable. We kind of have 2 economies, a silver and gold economy, which revolves around an in-game silver coin and then an on-chain token, which is only available in limited time competitive events. So it's more of a competitive earning model, which really focuses on competitive gaming rather than like a farming model, which is basically what most Web3 games have been so far, is just like basically like gamified staking almost.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Let's talk further. All right.
Awesome. We'd love to.
Okay. Gaio, please go ahead.
Thank you, Victoria. Liam, great pitch as far as I'm concerned. Excellent traction. Can you tell us what's your major differentiator and a bit more about your competitive landscape? I've been at the previous event where you pitched, and I was really amazed about the so many details in 3 minutes. So I think that the other judges would also like to hear more about the competitive landscape and your major differentiators in that sense.
Yeah, sure. I'll just jump to the go-to-market strategy slide. So on the left here, you can kind of see like the USPs in a really like quick, easy, like visual summary. So in compared to like Web2 CCGs, it's basically the fact that we are allowing asset ownership and trading. So compared to Web2 games in a similar genre, the key differentiators are the fact that we allow players to actually own their assets. And Web3 games talk about this a lot, but what they mean by owning their assets, because a player doesn't really care about that, right? You say to a player, you can own your assets in this game, and they say, what does that actually mean? You actually need to talk in terms of player benefits. The clear player benefits and use cases are the fact that in digital trading card games like Hearthstone, it's actually a huge misnomer. You can't actually trade your assets. So in like offline trading card games like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, I used to play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a kid. A big part of that was you would trade your cards with other players. You could sell them to other players. You actually own them. I can hold the card in my hand, say, this is mine. I can do what I want with it. You can't do that in digital trading card games, despite the name. So in Hearthstone, you can't trade your assets. So it's basically the fact that it's the main thing is in terms of the Web3 elements, you're giving more value back to players. Like players are spending billions every year on these assets, which they then can't recuperate any value from. Whereas in our game, they can recuperate value, whether that's through trading them and selling them on, or through actually earning from them by using the assets in competitive gameplay and then getting rewards for that. And then compared to other Web3 games, it's basically around the fact of the game depth and the quality and the novel gameplay, and also making the onboarding and user experience way, way smoother than most Web3 games where you need to buy an asset in order to play. You're never going to get a traditional gamer to onboard to Web3 gaming. If they have to, as soon as they land on your page, they have to buy an asset and create a crypto wallet. It's an impossible job. So you have to make it as easy as possible.
Okay.
Thank you very much for thorough answer. Let's connect after the event and good luck.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kelly, I don't know if we have time for your question, but
yeah,
please
it's
feel free to
actually,
put this
Liam, I
in the
just want to say it's a great presentation. So my question is, can you please elaborate how you design the in-game economy? I think you partly answered my question already.
Yeah,
Am I okay to
Liam,
answer now,
I
or-
think we're very short on time. Can you type the answer in the chat?
Yeah, that's cool. I'll
I
type
would
it in
love to
afterwards.
see that too.
Thank you.
Thank
Great,
you
cheers,
everyone
guys.
for your questions and for the presentation. And next we're gonna have our sponsor's choice. Enerdrape. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, represented by Margot. Margot, please go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, thank you, Victoria. Here's my screen. Do you see?
Yep, and you have 3 minutes and counting.
Great, thank you very much. So hello, everyone. My name is Margaret Peltier. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Enerdrape. And at Enerdrape, we're unlocking underground energy. Today, 50% of the energy consumed globally is for the heating and the cooling needs of our buildings. This is contributing massively to CO2 emissions. And given the climate urgency, we really need to start and accelerate the energy transition of this sector. At Enerdrape, we turn underground spaces, any kind of them, from underground car park to underground tunnels, into renewable energy suppliers for our buildings. We tap into a huge potential that lies underground. We have developed the very first geothermal panel technology that allows to access geothermal heat without any drilling or boring. We fix our panels to underground spaces, underground walls. It will capture underground heat and bring it back to the building upstairs or district heating network. It's retrofit friendly, easy to install, modular, customizable, and more importantly, it's an easy way to access to a constant and local source of renewable heat. This technology has been proven, industrialized, and one pilot has been running for 1 year already. The performance is 5 times higher than conventional geothermal technologies. We can save up to 80% of CO2 emissions compared to fossil-based system, and we lower energy costs by 50% for our clients. We have now reached the minimum sellable products. We have logged the first clients, and we are delivering the very first commercial project currently in Switzerland. We have several leads and built the pipeline, and also won several awards and competition already in the ecosystem. In terms of business model, we are a bit like the solar panels of underground. We sell hardware and services. We're going to target a 60% gross profit margin, and we're going to talk and partner with the same kind of customers and stakeholders. We have successfully turned this technology, lab technology, coming from my home university, the Polytechnical School in Lausanne of Switzerland, into and built the first product. Now we are raising a seed round to accelerate the market entry, deliver the first reference project, and build on the pipeline to be ready to grow and scale. Our ambition and vision is to follow the path of solar panels in terms of market adoption, scalability, and profitability, as well as environmental impact. To do this, we are a team with a right mix between passion and expertise. Myself, Forbes 30 under 30, I'm an engineer and a science-based entrepreneur. My two co-founders are renowned scientists. They are the tech inventors and serial entrepreneurs on their own as well. With Enerdrape, we provide a scalable solution that can help to decarbonize the city, our cities, and foster the energy transition of our society, not in 10 years, but already tomorrow. So thank you very much for your attention, and on the stage to contact me. My name is Margot Pelton. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Margot. I'm going to open the floor to questions from judges. Peter, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so congratulations on good job. Love the presentation. What would be the unique competitive advantage on the technology side and on the business model side?
So on the technology side, basically we're able to retrofit any kind of surface and make them renewable energy geothermal exchangers. And today we are the only one to do this. Of course, we're going to compete with other types of clean technologies, but I don't feel that we are not in competition really, because all of these technology are really complementary and we're going to partner together. And regarding the business model here, we don't really reinvent the wheel. We are in a sector where the value chain is quite segmented, and lots of business models have already been, let's say, optimized. So we really follow the same path as other types of technology to really be able to scale and penetrate the market as fast as possible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Gaurav, please go ahead with your question.
Margot, this is really a very disruptive and an innovative idea in geothermal sector. Yeah, really enjoyed the presentation. Margot, the question that I have is, how does this disrupt the existing competitors like Ormat, Fervo, Dandelion? There is also Quaise Energy. All of these have very unique, distinct approaches towards geothermal energy, right? They are significantly different than what you're proposing, but they have also made some good progress. So how do you step into this market, and how do you create the competitive differentiators to march further ahead of them?
Yeah, sure. The thing is that, for example, if you take the example of Dandelion, they are doing actually conventional geothermal energy. They are doing conventional probes. So for sure, they find a way to make it faster. But there is a key thing that let's say the historical limitation of geothermal energy is that you need to drill, and you need the space to do it, and you need the authorization to do it. In city centers, especially in Europe, urban centers, it's very dense, lots of built environment. You don't have the place anymore to drill. Most of the time, you don't have the authorization neither, and that's really the innovative.
But Fervo can offer residential. Fervo can offer residential geothermal heating as well, and so can Dandelion, right? They both are offering in the residential spaces as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's really an urban technology. I would say the ambition is to, let's say, our clients is really more multi-residential, so portfolio owners, big, let's say, mid-sized to big buildings. So really, this type of buildings that have these underground spaces and that basically have no option. They can't drill. They don't have garden anymore. They can't drill into the garden. We are not going to compete with this type of startups that are really targeting single houses, families. Their solution is really good for that. But today we are really lacking of solution for built environments, urban centers, where basically you have lots of technical constraints and you can't drill anymore.
I would be very interested in speaking after this event is over. Yeah. Thank you for presenting.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm going to invite our next contestant. Zimcoin, the winner of Crypto and Blockchain Unicorn Battle, represented by Borja.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, good.
Cool.
We can see your screen and you have 3 minutes and counting.
It's okay now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so here, I'm Borja Moreno. I'm the CEO of Zimcoin. Zero Emission Coin is the first tokenized platform in the e-mobility world. I have more than 12 years of experience in e-mobility. In my last company, we grew up from 40 people to 1,300. And now my co-founder is Peter Van Praet, expert in M&A. Ivan Gomez is expert in digitalization. He was CEO of Groupon, for example, studying Harvard. And then is Miguel Caballero, is one of the most important people in the blockchain in Spain. So basically, we are on this mobility, sustainable, multimodal, connected, and we are going to solve the main problem of this big, huge market with so much opportunity value. But this is a problem. There is this slow adoption in the sustainable mobilities, bad user experience, and its lack of feedback. So we have created the TripAdvisor of sustainable mobility. So with Zimcoin app, you can charge your electric vehicle, you can consume mobility services, then you do surveys, so you evaluate the services, you receive zero emission coins rewards, and we improve the user experience with all this dynamic data. We bring customers dynamic data and standard payment to all the stakeholders in this sector. We have our mobile Web 2 app. We have a DApp Web 3. We have a business intelligence platform, and we have our token live. We are live in 11 countries. The company was founded at the beginning of last year. We had 500K revenue last year, more than 100,000 charging points in Europe. We grow 80% a month in users, and our cost per acquisition is €6, and it's going dropping. So we're gonna grow so much in the traction. We have this system in place. It's like you get deals and you pay them with Syncoins when you evaluate a charging station. So you try a Tesla, a Velka motorcycle, or you get a course with a discount of blockchain. Then we are generating leads to all these companies, you know, in this generator lead system, and we get paid by Tesla or by any other companies that we provide customers. So the token is live. It has a market cap of more than 300K. It's live in dappsyncoin.com, and it's a payment for zero emission projects. You can pay already this electric vehicle, motorcycle. You can pay for charging your car with Syncoin token. You can sell the energy and share your charger at home when you are not using it during the day. And our revenue model is very simple. So in marketing, we do positioning. We sell leads to the companies that they put deals in our app. We sell tokens. Also, we sell the energy. We are gonna become the 0.7% of market share by end of 2026. And also in long term, we are getting a lot of dynamic data. So we will get a huge user community, aggregate reviews, and we will sell them with APIs and with our business intelligence platform. We get a subsidy from the Spanish government. We were finalists in Berlin, and we have more than 7,000 drivers from our EV associations. If you wanna go in this ride with us, we can save the world. At least we can help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Walid, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I think great presentation and addressing a very important challenge. I've been in mobility technology for the last 15 years. And we did a trip with electric vehicles in Europe, about 12 countries back in 2017. One of the main challenges that was different type of providers, different type of technologies, you know, and different type of payment methods.
Yeah.
Basically, mainly there was EV box and Tesla superchargers, but again, there were a lot of inconvenience when you reach in, charging station. Is your solution addressing any of these challenges? And if yes, how do you address it?
Yeah, so I was the country manager for Southern Europe for 4 years at EVBox, and the general director of EVBox is my co-founder, you know? So we grow up from 40 to 1,300 people. So yes, I knew this was a problem. So we are aggregating all the chargers in Europe in our app. We are also providing a zero emission coin or coin to all these stakeholders. So all the charging points operators in Europe can use our token to incentivize the user to provide data on how was the charging experience, if the charging cable is broken, if it is a secure place to charge at night, to go to your families if the place has toilets, you know. So with all this data,
it's clear for me. Yeah, I would love to talk later. I would leave you precious time for other questions, but yeah, the point is clear for me.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Jules, please go ahead with your question.
All right, thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. So Borja, I am in my office today because my power is out in Silicon Valley going on 2 days. So I'm in the office and I'm charging my EV in my office. We have a couple of dozen chargers here. Normally I would just charge at home. I'm trying to understand the compelling argument of why I would download Zimcoin as a consumer. Can you expand on that a little bit on what it is, what's in it for consumers besides a discount on some things?
Yeah, so basically when you go traveling, you will need to use public charging. So whenever you use this public charging, you review the service and the charger and the surrounding of the charger. And with this, you get Same coins as a reward. It's a cryptocurrency. You can swap it for Bitcoin or for euros. So then every time you do 5 reviews, you get enough Same coins to pay for free for your next charge. So basically, we are giving you rewards to generate dynamic data, but also you have a shop where you can get deals like to try a Tesla, to rent a scooter, to get a car sharing. So we're also empowering the sustainable mobility, shared mobility, for example. And after you try these services of sharing, car sharing, for example, or a scooter, then you evaluate that service, so then you are getting like services for free or with good discounts. And with the dynamic data you are generating, we are getting revenue because we sell all these leads to the companies to offer the deals. And part of this, we buy the cryptocurrency Same coin in the pool, so the price of the pool grows. So then you will benefit. If you have 100 Same coins today and the price start growing, then you will be able to charge maybe free forever, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was all of our startups for today. Everyone, great presentation. And I'm going to pass the mic to our CEO, Anna. Anna, please, the floor is yours.
Hi again. And yes, we reached the finals of the finals. That is really wonderful. Startups, great job. You have done it all, dear judges. You know the rules. You have to vote for all the startups. Please make sure you evaluated all the startups' investment potential. Go back to our event page or just open it widely and make sure you put the mark beneath each startup. Please select from 1 to 5. 1 is the lowest, 5 the highest, and make sure you voted for all the startups. And I will be closing the vote in less than a minute, and then we'll go reviewing group by group to see how the groups vote, and then we'll have the aggregated vote calculated and know who the winner is of the Unicorn Cup, the first Unicorn Cup in 2023. This is really important. And I'm really glad that we have very, very esteemed judges that I personally trust. And like what I can share my personal experience listening to all the startup pitches, I kept on thinking how wonderful it would be if we were living in a world when you go to a restaurant and get served by a robot that made food for you, and like a blind person can see just putting on the glasses and you just breathe and know that your CO is used for a good cause and all other things. It would be wonderful. And all depends on you, dear investors. Please help those guys to succeed. And I'm helping them as well by showing them to you. And you're helping us to choose who is the best one to invest in. Okay. Okay, I'm putting on the music. The end of music means the end of voting. So let's do it. Okay. So I'm pushing stop voting. And in a little while, we will see how did everyone vote. Okay. Business angels put our startups in such an order. Who got the most? Got 11. Okay, so business angels believe in those startups the most, the ones on the upper level, and expert board express their opinion in such a way. And let's see, how did my official judges do? My favorites. And I will talk to you. And you will explain to me, what do we see? And is your personal vote the same as a group of official judges? I see Valit on my screen. Valit, what can you say about our winners of Unicorn Battles, and who are your favorites today at the Unicorn Cup Finals? Oh, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I think it's been a very difficult decision today. Most of the startups, they're very, very, very high in terms of inequality and the impact that they're bringing to a large, problem. I think it was difficult for us. I mean, I think I give four startups 5. Which is, I think, one of the most generous time for me in the Unicorn Battle. But I think everybody here today is a winner. I think Solid solve a major problem. If they do what they claim they do, that is, I've been wearing glasses for more than 40 years, and I know how difficult is it to have, like vision sort of stuff, and then control energy. Also, they are bringing a very innovative solution with an environmental impact. Zim Coin, also they're solving a problem that's tend to be more complicating over the time. And Inner Drape, these are my favorite, but I believe everybody today here is the winner. That does not reduce the value of anybody else. But I think from my own industry expertise and perspective, maybe this could be the preferences I had here.
Thank you, Valit, so much. It's very important. And Seljuk, what do you think? Who did you bet on today? Seljuk, are you with us? I guess some problems. Let's jump to Germany. Peter, who did you select as a winner today?
Yes, so it was a quite difficult test, I agree. They're all winners, so startups, amazing pitches, technology, and attraction. So we internally at the Change Venture Capital Group, we use a so-called Frascati methodology, which is most focused on innovations, team traction, and scalability. And indeed, I have put 5 grades. So number 5 for Citadel Energy. We love to see the development on the battery side. We agree that not just assembling the batteries and scale it on a very simple and unique way, it also needs a lot of optimization, which we miss. So I love the team and technology they provide. Solid, amazing work done. I'm really interested to get those glasses. So if you have them on sale, please send me a bill. We're ordering the first batch. We'd love to see how they work in practice. It's a big problem that they solve. And I also use glasses, so have some difficulties with icing. So would love to test the technology and push it in Germany and across Europe. Energy Drape, love it. Sonar panels of underground. I love the idea. Actually very scalable and good team. I love that also engineers can be CEOs because they both understand the technical and the business knowledge. So that was our favorite. Yeah, and thank you. Everybody else is a winner, so great job done.
Thank you, Peter, so much for the feedback. Nurul, what do you think about our today's startups?
Very, very extremely good session today. With various services and new technology. So I was curiously watching some of the companies like Anadrape. It is difficult to judge cookie because it's online regarding food. And I was mostly curious about Aradina because I think sky is the limit. They can go as much. The gaming community is increasing over the years, and there is much they need to think about the growth strategies in the coming days. Cool. So yeah, I liked the Aradina the most. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, about online events, there is one drawback. You cannot taste the food that food tech startups do. But we do it on offline events. Yeah, we are coming back to our offline events as well. Thank you, Nurul, so much. And Michal, what do you think? What does Polish needs the most, considering startups?
Well, that is as usually fascinating thing to be part of that event and see what's happening. So I tend to look at energy because I'm an energy-driven VC. So obviously, Enerdrape has something very interesting, like underground solar panels. I like that slogan, and it seems that has a lot of potential. Being very honest, yes. Same story about control energy. That is never too much of a good idea of in this sector. Solid, yes, it's a solid idea for business, I would say. I like that. Radio life, this is something I'm always receptive to it because I think it's a huge market for diagnostics and for this type of thing. Active Chat AI, that's also a very interesting company for me because I tend to look deeper into AI and especially into conversational AI. It took me a moment to think about cookie because obviously there is a market for that. People don't like to work in the kitchen underpaid. My big questions which remains to be answered is whether the food is going to get better or worse because it will be predictable and it will be of repetitive measurable quality. But then it's a cultural thing. Food is and cooking is part of the culture. So it's a very interesting challenge, yes, to address, really.
It is. Yeah, robot culture in making food. Yes, that's very interesting. Thank you, Michal, so much for your feedback. And John, our crazy John, thank you for staying up for so long. Did startups keep you up?
Yes, thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone, for great pitches. It's like nearly 3 a.m. in Japan, but you guys keep me awake. And my most three favorite was Zim Coin and Enerdrape and Ara Dinner. And actually, I have a few others favorites ones, but most of them are actually great winners today. And keep my comments short to summarize. I really enjoy and appreciate all of your time and efforts. And it's very difficult to hear all tractions and in terms of your still some of them are still too early seed, but yeah, so far so good. And best luck to all of you. I love to keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, John, so much. And Aldo, what do you think?
Yes, well, as all of the judges mentioned, it's very difficult. It's a decision because you all are winners in your battles for one reason. But today, among all of you, solid, the pitch of solid, and also the importance to grant visual and cover the macular degeneration is something amazing. And also, even though I think I was the only one supporting Umoja Labs, but yeah, I think Umoja is something, even though Jordan mentioned that crypto is, I think crypto is under attack, but it's the future. So we need some credit protocol to provide financing in the market. So those were the 5 for me.
Thank you so much, Aldo. Gaurav, what does India think about those startups? Who do you like the most?
And first of all, this was an outstanding event, and there must have been lots of hard work and effort by you, Lydia, Maria, Alex, and all. So thank you so much. It's such a big pleasure to be a part of all these events, and congratulations on another outstanding event here. I concur with Walid. He mentioned he had 4 startups that he gave highest marks. I had given it to 3 of them. Yeah. All of the entrepreneurial spirits. I mean, all of these startups obviously have very, very good ideas and innovation behind them. And I hope they all succeed. But also the entrepreneurial spirit and leadership qualities were very excellent. To me, the dilemma was between Enerdrape, Sterlingshire, and Control Energy. I think all these three are just above and beyond being in startup, and they all three got my maximum marks. I tried picking one, but it just became, they made my journey tough, let's put it that way. But besides these three, which got the top marks, all others equally got fantastic marks. It's just a matter of competition. But like I said, all of them did a terrific job, and I wish them the very best.
Thank you. What a generous judges we have. That is absolutely wonderful. And Gabriel, what do you think about our startups? Do you also love them all? Or some of them were better than others?
Well, you see, it's the finals. Not always in the finals, you see the best of every week. But what I like is the trend where we are heading, because in one side we see healthcare, so we need radio life. On the other hand, we need energy, access to renewable energy, clean. And then once you are healthy and with good access to energy, then the financial system change. No, so you see Stirlingshire or Aradina that are trying to, and Umoja Labs also to try to improve your finance. So the world is changing, and we see already the trend in the competition. So very excited, very excited.
Thank you, Gabriel, so much. Kelly, please tell us, you always are very strict on your marks. Do you have 3, 4, maybe 5 favorites today?
First of all, I just want to congratulate all the startup. You're all winners. You did a great job today. And thank you so much, Anna, Victoria, Alex, for organizing such an amazing event. So based on my investment interests and resources, I gave 5 to 3 companies. So one is Enerdrape. We are very familiar with University EPFL and Jamie Paik, the director of the Reconfigurable Robotics Laboratory, and starting from their technology, Robogami, used in the Mercedes-Benz concept car. So if you, Margot, if you need our help on the channel resource, we can go from there. And another one is Solid. And they have a great and very useful technology. I think the key to the company's long-term development lies in their development of channel resources and the protection of IP. And my third one is Adredina. So I think the team, the founding team, they are gamers, and they knew very well how to make the game fun, rewarding, and engaging. So for them, sustained growth requires the development of a top-notch gaming experience and a sustainable in-game economy and gaming community. So congratulations again. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Alexander, I am lost. Please tell me who the winner is today.
Okay, yeah, of course, today we have the winners of semifinals. So I like every startup, but we need to make our decisions. And I really like today Control Energy and Solid, but slightly higher marks I put to Stirlingshire and Aradina. So it was my choice today.
Okay, we heard all the official judges. Are you ready to see who the winner is today? Maybe you're good in mathematics and already know. I do not. Let's see overall score. And the winner is, of course, you see it. Congratulations! Solid! Please speak up. It's a moment of glory. You made it all the way to the top. That is so wonderful. Like we are people wearing glasses counting on you.
I'm really honored. Thank you very much. And there were so many other good ones. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear judges. Thank you, startups. You are our best. We'll be reaching out to you. Please remember about us when you fundraising. And dear judges, please remember about us when you are helping startups to fundraise. We also want to follow you. And next season is starting right away. We'll do our battles in spring, but until spring, we are going over all the startups. We'll be looking into them more thoroughly. So applications are accepted right now. Battles will be in spring. Unicorn Cup will be in spring. Please stay with us. I'll see you all online, some of you offline, and have a wonderful spring ahead. Thank you for coming. It was a great event, and see you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna. And guys,
Thank you, Anna.
Victoria.
Thank you,
everyone.
Victoria. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye, good night.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.